It's bonus Jonas time.
Hey you guys, this is a bonus Jonas episode. Shout out to my little intro I made. I wasn't sure if I was going to make this like a bonus episode thing that I do just strictly on social media or if it was something I was actually going to post. I've done like something like this before with another fan podcast, and I think it's always a great way to get an episode out, especially on times where maybe you're really busy and you don't have the time to give out a proper episode. And I love doing this podcast. Don't get me wrong, I really, really do. But it can be a lot doing it by myself. But I do appreciate just the ones that's been, tuning in and things like that. So without further ado, if I can we yap about where the origins of the Jealous gospel version came from.
1, 2, 3.
I turn my chin music up and I'm puffing my chest. I'm getting ready to face you. Call me upstairs. It's not your fault that they hover. I mean no disrespect. It's my right. I can't help it. I still get jealous.
Because I had this epiphany last year. Is it an epiphany? Do I want to say epiphany? I don't know. I had this realization. That's what I want to say. I had this realization last year as it hit 10 years of Jealous being out that I have actually experienced one of the first few Jealous gospel version performances. So for those who don't know what Jealous the gospel version is, it's a very popular craze in the Jonas Brothers fandom. It's basically everyone's obsession with Nick Jonas singing the song Jealous with a black gospel choir. And it is literally iconic. It goes viral like every 7 to 10 business days. Anytime we put that video up there, I'm pretty sure fan Twitter eats it up and it goes viral. Gotti always gets a viral from it. I know Leslie does. I know a few of the like Nick Nation girls, they always get a viral off that. So it's a very big popular craze, but I'm wondering if you guys really know the origins. So it started off, and I'm going to actually look the video up just to make sure I have the correct date. I know it was in November when we got the first Jealous gospel version. Why did it put in you? I mean YouTube. But when we got the first Jealous gospel version, it is actually a YouTube video. So I'm looking it up right now. We got the first Jealous gospel version, and I'm going to make sure my volume's down so when I click on this video and get the date, it doesn't start playing loudly. We got the first Jealous gospel version on November 9th, and then after that, and that was in 2014. So after that, Nick did a few runs of the iHeartRadio like Christmas performances. And I say this as someone who actually went to one of the Christmas performances. So I can't remember what day exactly it was, but my friend had got tickets to the Kiss FM. I think it's is it Jingle Ball? I believe it was Jingle Ball. I'm not sure. Yeah, I think it was Jingle Ball. She got us we had Kiss FM tickets to Jingle Ball, and this concert was really cool. We had not Avril Lavigne there, that was something different. We had Cher Lloyd, Fall Out Boy, Iggy Azalea, Demi Lovato, Nick Jonas, Becky G. It was like this it was a really cool concert. Ryan Taylor's One Republic. It was like really cool. And that's back when I used to love going to radio shows because they would have this like sick ass lineup. And I was going mainly because at that time I was like following Nick and Demi wherever they go. Like if y'all was at a radio show, I had a ticket. If y'all was doing the tour, I had a ticket. I didn't actually go to a lot of solo Nick as much as people like to think. I didn't go to a lot of solo Nick tours. I was like at the radio shows. I did Future Now and things like that, but I never actually got a chance to go to one of his actual like tours. So that's like I just like something that I want to like just be like transparent with. I did go to a lot of solo Nick shows, but they were never like his actual tours. I don't know how many. I think he did come here maybe once or twice on one of his solo tours, but anyways, I went to that. That was my first time actually seeing Nick. I think that was my first time actually seeing Nick without his brothers. That had to be the first time for me seeing Nick without the Jonas Brothers. And the last time I had ever seen Nick in concert, I really want to say, was like all the way back in like 2010. And I don't even think I really fully like processed what I was experiencing. So back during that time, all Nick would perform is Chains and Jealous. And that's all we got. But he had this really fun, like, cool intro. I don't know if you guys remember what the intro is. I'll link it down below if I find it. But it was like this intro he did before the show started. But speaking on the Jealous gospel version, it really originated in 2010 in that holiday concert season where Nick would bring a choir on stage for Jealous. And I realized that last year when I went to post my video for 10 years and I posted me hearing the song 10 years ago, I was like, wait a goddamn minute. Like, wait a goddamn minute. There's a choir in this background. And at the time, when I saw that live, at the time we had those live performances, I don't think anybody fully knew what we weren't really fully like calling it just the gospel version. Like it was a gospel version, but like it's labeled jealous gospel version. Hear me out, okay? I get it. It's labeled that way, but it wasn't really this big craze and phenomenon that I'm seeing it as now. Like fans have probably always loved it, but the craze and the phenomenon of it in the fandom now, the need to hear it in the gospel version is what's really intriguing me, because back then I didn't even know what I had witnessed. I don't even think I had known what I had witnessed was super iconic, because looking back at it now, I'm like, I've really been able to witness this really cool experience of seeing Jealous in a gospel version form. And I'll be honest, as a person who, I ain't gonna lie, I got tired of hearing Jealous live for a bit of time, because if you were really there during all those solo Nick show runs, Jealous was literally one of the songs he would not stop playing. Like it was Jealous in chains. Luckily, when I saw him do his 2015 when I saw him with Usher, it was really cool because he performed more songs off the self-titled, and I was very happy about that, because as a person who wanted to hear more from his album, like he has so much more than Change and Jealous, and I wanted those songs to get highlighted too. Like Wilderness slaps, Numb slaps. Like I wanted to hear more of the cool songs. And I think it was really fun also getting to go to the Future Now tour and getting to hear a lot of songs from last year was Complicated. So I really got to get to hear a mixture of that. And what was really cool about that Future Now tour was just getting to hear a little bit longer for the first time ever in my life. So it was crazy to finally, like when the boys got back together and they did the albums, 5 albums in one night tour, I was like, I could finally get to hear it a little bit longer again. And I never thought that I was going to be able to hear it ever, because the boys had broke up. And I remember when I was in that crowd and I was like, what y'all know about a little bit longer? Like, are y'all really fans? Da 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 da. Because I won't lie, being a Lovatic, I enjoyed the Future Now tour because I also loved the Jonas Brothers and Demi Lovato at the same time. And it was really cool to see both of my favorite artists in one night. But I won't lie, Lovatics don't, there's a lot of Lovatics that don't really like the Jonas Brothers like that. Lie, I sat there thinking to myself, they do not care that he's performing this song, but I do. That means a lot to me as a fan. And I know that a lot of people shit on that tour so bad because they feel like it was forced by, da 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 da. It's a lot of back and forth on if people even like that tour. And there might be some Jonas Brothers fans that didn't care for Demi on the tour. But that was like my dream thing. Because I keep, every time I say this, I keep forgetting I did already see them together as a unit in the Camp Rock tour. But still, getting to paying one price to see your favorite artist perform at the same concert is the best thing ever. I didn't have to pay separately to see Demi, and I didn't have to separately pay to see Nick. I saw them in one night. And that was my dream come true. I don't care what anybody else says, what the naysayers say. But it was really an interesting thing to experience Jealousy Gospel version for the first time. And I want to yap about that because I was like, I'm really one of the first few people that experienced it. And I would like to say we were there before it was this really big cultural phenomenon. I mean, what it is now and what it means to the fandom and what this big thing about it is now, that wasn't really big back then. Like I remember people like obsessed. I remember I loved the Jealous Gospel version for so many years. I never shut up about it. But to see the cultural phenomenon it is now in the Jonas Brothers fandom and seeing how much, like, the impact of how cool it was for people to hear it in 2023 when he did his gospel version of it at the Broadway shows, it was such a cool experience to overall see. But to know that like this happened like 10 years ago, but it wasn't really this big of a phenomenon, it wasn't really like this big talked about thing. And I just want to yap about that because I was one of the first few people to experience Jealous the Gospel version. And I don't think I could ever hear that song without, like, it's good without the gospel choir, but like, and when you think about it, we've gotten a couple of different iterations of Jealous. We've got a gospel version, a regular version, and we got the featuring Joe Jonas version, which everybody loves to think is the better version, or they like to call it Joe's thingy. I ain't gonna lie, I do kind of like the version where Joe comes in. I didn't mind Joe on it. A lot of Nick girls get defensive and want to say like, but listen, I I appreciate for what Joe contributed to the song. It's still Jealous by Nick Jonas, but I don't what propaganda I'm not falling for is Jealous by Joe Jonas. I'm not falling for that propaganda. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. It is still by Nick Jonas, but Kevin put his stank on his version when he would do it live during the Happy Spring. So he put a stank on it. And I love that Joe was able to put himself in that song and make it slap. Like, it's still Jealous by Nick Jonas. Like I said, propaganda I'm not falling for. Jealous Joe Jonas version. Nope. Absolutely not. I like it. I think it's actually no, I love it, but it's not beating the original. And I think at some point I've kind of gotten over hearing Jealous live because I had to think about it and I had to take a step back and think about it. This was one of Nick's biggest songs to date. When you think about Jealous, it's one of his biggest songs to date. It was like his biggest hit coming from the Jonas Brothers. That was probably, I want to say Jealous was his first solo single outside of The Boys. Let me double check that because Jealous had to be the debut single of his solo career. Let me go look that up because that had to be his debut. That had to be his debut single. So this was a second single actually because I believe that the first one had to be Closer. Chains. Chains was first and then yeah, so Chains was the first single, I believe. And then it was Jealous. But they're saying Just Haven't Met You Yet was really one of his first singles, but that's for a TV show, okay? But it was Changed and Jealous, but Jealous was technically like his biggest hit with Change. Changed and Jealous was his biggest hit. Those were like his biggest hits coming from the Jonas Brothers, and that was him proving himself that he could do it without the boys. And I think that whether we get tired of hearing those songs or not, I think the importance of just how special those songs are to Nick and how those were his biggest hits, especially coming from the band where a lot of the boys probably didn't think they could do solo music outside of the brothers and be successful, or they wanted to prove themselves so hard. Like, I love how Nick was able to smash it with his solo music and how Joe was able to find his foot with DNCE. I love that for the both of them. I'm so sorry that Kevin didn't find his leg footings. You know, I mean, he had little projects he was doing and things like that. But I think when I talk about the episode, the podcast episode that they did recently, Kevin opened up about some things that he was struggling with the breakup. But I'm really glad that Jealous was that hit for him. And no matter how tired I am of Jealous and Chains, I'm gonna let him play them because those were the hits that really showed him he could do solo music and that he could be somebody outside of the Jonas Brothers, that he made a name for himself. That's why he's in the Songwriter Hall of Fame. So that's just me yapping about Jealous, the gospel version. I'm gonna try to use this bonus Jonas feature again to get you guys some more fun little yap session podcast episodes. I'm trying to get into doing some deep dives, but those take time to do, and I'm only one person. And I've been really busy lately. My birthday's coming up. It's just been a lot going on, so I really haven't had the time to give myself proper time to do a podcast episode. But now you're gonna have this, which should not take me long to edit. Anyways, if you guys love my podcast and you guys think my podcast is pretty cool, I've never asked you guys to do this, but if you guys want to do this, just go ahead and on YouTube, thumbs it up, like it, subscribe to us. If you like the podcast on here, you want to rate us a 5-star. It doesn't have to be 5 stars, but just rate us a 1 through 5. Just don't rate me a 1. Just don't rate me a 1. I'm only one person, so be nice. But yeah, give us a little 5 stars. Give us a little, let us know what you think. I try to put polls up there and stuff. Nobody really responds to those, but you guys can respond to them. They're there. Anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and go. Thank you guys so much for being around, and I'll see you guys next episode. Bye.